is fiscal responsibility, in your view, part of an economic growth agenda and part of a national security agenda?
Well, the answer is yes, I do. I'm looking at my letter right here, and one thing I would cite to folks is that according to some estimates, a nation's economic growth slows by roughly 0.017% for every percentage point of debt in excess of 77% of that debt to GDP ratio that I'm talking about. Of course, I told you that we're around 100%. So we're already experiencing slower economic growth as a result of the size of our national debt. That is only going to get worse with the passage of time, unless Congress really takes some steps here to reduce the growth of our annual budget deficit. That's an economic case right there. I think reducing the deficit will ultimately produce a better performing economy. From a national security standpoint, I would say that yes, I think it's an issue of national security. I had a good talk once with the former Speaker Paul Ryan, who was advocating that the problem with the national debt is from the perspective of national security, is that it often doesn't seem like it's an emergency, but it will be eventually. And when it does, I think it's often a very rapid descent, and one that the general public is unlikely to really see coming. Essentially, it's not a big problem until it's a very big and sometimes irreversible problem. Hence, it's really difficult to talk about in the here and now and get people to understand the urgency. But I don't even think you really have to argue it. You can look around the world to see what happens to some countries when their debt to GDP ratios get out of control and their economy slows too much, and then coupled with a series of global and national disasters, they suffer collapse. And just because we're as big as we are and as powerful as we are doesn't mean that it could not happen here. And I certainly hope it's not in my lifetime or my kids or their grandkids, but you can see the potential for it being out there in the not too distant future.